I'm Mike Logan.
And this is Tarq.
And this better be good. It's the podcast movie review show. That was a terrible way of saying it. It's the movie review podcast where you review a movie before seeing it, review it again after seeing it. This week, we are seeing Joker, Folie, Deux. Yes. It's the very controversial sequel to the very controversial original Joker film.
I remember there was violence concerns when they were releasing the first one.
Yeah, it was, the first movie was very famously, when it came out, a bunch of people thought there was going to be an incel revolution. It's a loose way of putting it. And so everybody was alerting. Movie theaters were on high alert. There were going to be blam blams.
Like that. We already had the infamous Batman Dark Knight shooting in the past. So people were like, are we just going to have another one of those, but for a Joker movie?
And it was really weird that the controversy kind of came out of nowhere. Like, it's kind of one of those internet things where somebody said something once and then it kind of snowballed into more crap. But the movie itself, I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I do believe there's an episode somewhere back in the archives on it. I didn't love it. I think it was a masterpiece like everybody did when it came out. And I do believe I said that I think when you give the movie time, people will lower their experience of the film.
I can see it.
Which I think I kind of agree with. Like, people, when it first came out, were very much like, this movie's finally somebody gets us, which I think is a weird thing to connect with. Because it did feel like there was a lot of people feeling very justified by the movie's existence.
What year was it exactly? Was it during
the first
COVID?
Joker? It was 2019, so it was before that.
COVID. Oh, pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Oh, it was towards the end of Trump. There was a lot of political diciness going on at that point already. Yeah. So it was interesting times in the Chinese proverb sense.
It was a very good film. I enjoyed Joaquin Phoenix's performance. I thought it was very beautifully directed. I thought it was a good movie.
Yeah, and I rewatched it this morning because I haven't seen it since it was in theaters. And there are little details that were interesting, fun, just his social worker was named Deborah Case, it says case worker. That's her last name, was just Case. And then there was his initials are A Fleck, he means nothing and he wants to be seen. And there's this whole thing of just being oppressed by society in his own mind, and then feeling like he means nothing. His entire journey in the movie is to be seen by people and respected, at least in some way. And it went wildly out of control.
This guy just watched the fucking movie. You could tell. I did not just watch the movie. You know why? Because I just went to the goddamn Grilled Cheese Festival here in Grand Rapids.
Festival of Lies.
I am going to just go off on a tangent for just 1 second. Bear with me, audience. If you saw any advertisements leading up to a Grilled Cheese Festival at Fuller Park today, which today being October 13th when I recorded this, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I was promised grilled cheeses and soup. And all I got was, you got a line that was 90-minute line to get one grilled cheese sandwich and soup for $15. That is not a festival. It was put on by the Cheese Lady. That's the reason I went to it, because for 11 years I love cheese. I've never eaten the Cheese Lady's cheese. I've heard legends of her cheese. And so
I have heard of this lady, but I've never consumed her product either.
That's the whole reason I went. Took a U-turn today, went over there, saw the line. I'll post a picture. If you're watching this on YouTube, I'll post a picture right here. I have to remember. I'll post a picture right here of what the line looked like. And it was just there's no way in hell I'm going to stay in this line to eat a grilled cheese. I was literally on the way here. I said, I hope there's lobster bisque grilled cheese or a BLT grilled cheese. And my mind was going crazy thinking of all these cool grilled cheese combinations.
And one grilled cheese
only?
One
grilled cheese. Ugh. Anyway, Joker, Folie, Deux.
We have good news, though. You won't be waiting in line today for this movie.
No. There is nobody here to see this movie. So the movie stars Joaquin Phoenix. Let me go through. Struggling with his dual identity, failed comedian Arthur Fleck meets the love of his life, Harley Quinn, while incarcerated at Arkham State Hospital. That is the plot of this film, or so it would seem. I will say right now, I know for a fact that there is a huge courtroom drama that isn't mentioned at all in this movie.
I love courtroom dramas, though.
Also, there's a whole big controversy surrounding this film right now because it is a musical. And people didn't know that. And I don't know if you were going to a movie expecting it to be a serial killer revenge story.
Or just a DC integration to the Batman universe, as they kind of hinted at the end of the last movie.
Nope. Todd Phillips, in fact, very famously now, refused to meet with anybody at DC during the production of this film, including the new head, James Gunn, and Paul, whatever his other last name is.
Oh, no.
Which is a huge red flag if you're actually a fan of DC. If you want to go see a good Joker film, which I will say the first one was an amazing Joker film.
Yeah.
If you look at it as a Joker film, it's a great retelling of his origin and how he came to be.
And it explains why he has so many thugs and minions all the time. Just available just to do
that
violence.
too, yeah, definitely. I never thought about it that way actually too.
Yeah.
But and if you go into it and you get a Lady Gaga co-starring musical about a psychological deep dive into what it means to be a serial killer, you're probably going to be disappointed.
We'll find out.
I don't think I'm going to be disappointed. I think I enjoy musicals. I enjoy slow movies.
Dramas.
I enjoy courtroom
A Few
dramas.
Good Men.
12 Angry Men.
Yeah.
I love that one. That was one of my favorite movies.
I watched a lot of Matlock as a kid.
Me too. My grandmother loved Matlock. So I think we're going to enjoy the film. I do know that I'm going to leave this movie thinking, well, I get why people hate it. Because to me, it's just like 33% of Rotten Tomatoes is pretty unfortunate. Screen Rant interestingly gave it a 7 out of 10.
It can't be as putting for the general audience as when I watched Midsummer, and everyone else but my friend and I left in just different segments of the movie.
Really?
Yeah, it was fascinating. That's a whole talk unto itself.
But. Oh my goodness! For the long listeners of the podcast knows that we do have an episode on Midsummer, and I very famously I chose to because I'm a man of integrity, journalistic integrity. But I actually, a couple of months later, changed my review of Midsummer after I had done mushrooms for the first time. Because I had never done mushrooms. Went and saw the movie Midsummer and thought, I don't get it. I was just like, why are they making these decisions, is what I was thinking. But I've never had the mind of somebody on mushrooms. So then I did mushrooms. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big fan of those now. And after I did it, when I was on mushrooms the first time, I was like laying in a field with a bunch of my friends, looking up at the sky. And all of a sudden, I got Midsummer.
And then you want to do something in a bear suit. No.
But no, I've never, I don't know, I don't think this movie's going to make me want to walk out or anything like that. But
no more than our last one did.
See, I never wanted to walk out of that movie only because I kept hoping it would be worth it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I kept holding on hope that at some point the movie's going to
What's the runtime on this one?
2 hours and 18 minutes, the exact same runtime as Megalopolis. No,
no. Then longer than the first one.
Yes,
the first one's 2 hours and 2 minutes.
The first one didn't have time for dance breakdowns.
So if there's 16 minutes of musical interludes, then everything else is the same.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. We'll call it I'm not going to say bold prediction because that wasn't actually a segment on the old version of the show. But we'll call it the Eye of Tarq.
Okay. Okay.
As I'm doing, people can't see, but I'm doing the hand gestures for the Eye of Agamotto from Doctor Strange.
Oh my God.
It's like the nerdiest thing I think I've ever done.
Okay. Rewind time.
So we'll call the section the Eye of Tarq.
Okay.
Tarq. Do you foresee there to be any actual Batman references in this entire film?
Oh,
it's a good question, right?
If they do bother, it's going to be incredibly subtle. Like someone's got a newspaper that they don't actually read that's sitting on a counter somewhere talking about a mass vigilante like fighting crime or something.
Well, remember Bruce Wayne as a child.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I mean, I guess this is immediately after the first one, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. Then we'll just have more talk about maybe Bruce Wayne disappearing as he goes on his thing, like local murdered billionaire son disappears.
There you go. See, what I'm getting at is I think they're going to somehow tie Flex, like copycat people, into Bruce Wayne's death. Because Bruce Wayne's parents.
Oh, yeah.
What's his father's? Martha Wayne and Thomas Wayne.
Yeah.
Martha.
Why do you know that name?
Oh, my God. Speaking of dumpster fires of movies, one dumpster fire of a film with an amazing fight scene in it is Batman versus Superman.
Yeah.
But anybody knows the Save Martha reference is a good friend in my book. But yeah, I do feel like this is a good way to actually, if Todd Phillips respects the audience in any way, because Bruce Wayne is established at the age right now where his parents could get killed. So for this not to be the perfect opportunity to do it would be the ultimate, I think.
Because his parents were directly killed in the riot caused in the first movie. Mm-hmm. Joker himself did not do it, but it was a man dressed up as Joker. So there's a lot of psychological stuff going on that maybe he's going to fund. Maybe he's going to be altruistic and fund his defense. Maybe he's going to fund the prosecutors. I don't know. Maybe he's going to have no involvement at all. Maybe Alfred's going to come in there and threaten to kill him.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Badass Alfred incoming.
Although we haven't established if there is an Alfred in this universe. I'm sure there probably is.
They're going to need one now. He's got no parents.
He does have the dead parents.
Yeah, super dead. Cadaverific.
Jeremy Irons cameo.
Cadaverific.
So, Oh, one more question before we go in. Harley Quinn is being played by Lady Gaga in this film. Miss Gaga, Oscar nominated, I think, technically
Probably.
for music in the film, whatever it's called. Once Upon a Star,
Oh, yeah.
Rock Star,
Haven't seen that one, but
Born a Star,
Born a Star.
Again,
A Star is Born.
A Star is Born.
A title is rehashed.
Woo, we workshopped it. How do you feel her performance as Harley Quinn will stack up against other Harley Quinns, or will it stack up because it's such a radical departure from the normal story?
I think it's going to be very different from the ones we've seen recently. And even back to the cartoon, I don't know if she has that kind of manic energy in the same way. I don't know if it'll more come across like a... I don't know. I haven't really seen her performances in that. And she could impress us. It could be those things where you're like, Heath Ledger's Joker. You're like, he's done romantic comedies and like stuff like that. You can't see him as a crazy person. Then they surprise you with their acting. So I'm willing to be surprised. I have no qualms about her playing a character. It's just, what's her name? The one who's been playing it for the last couple of times. Margot Robbie. Yeah. She's not Margot Robbie.
She's a very good Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Margot Robbie.
Yeah, 100%. We'll see how this goes.
My favorite Harley Quinn still Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what she was invented
fantastic.
for. She didn't exist before that.
Yeah.
So she better have been the best.
Let's think about, what about there's not a lot of characters who were invented for specifically that weren't the best version of it. Robert Downey Jr.
There you go.
That's Tony Stark. Best version of Tony Stark.
Oh, yeah.
Pretty much
Like
all
he
you think
lived
of now when you think
he
of
lived
Tony
the life
Stark.
effectively.
He did. He was demon in a bottle for a while.
Demon in a bottle in real life, and then he played character effectively, coming out of same concept.
Came out from obscurity to be better than he was before.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he was ever obscure, but
He came from obscurity, from when he was blacklisted.
oh
from
yeah,
Hollywood
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. Some exile.
Yes, from a cave with scraps. All right, well, we are going to mess up our microphones, so I have to re-record this later, but we're going to go watch the movie. You're going to hear the trailer, and then we will be right back.
Let's go, boys. It's showtime. Wakey, wakey.
Hey, Fleck, you got a joke for us today?
We use music to make us whole, to balance the fractures within ourselves.
I'm nobody. I haven't done anything with my life like you have. Let's get out of here.
What the world needs now is a love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of. What the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Tell us, what's changed, Arthur?
I'll tell you what's changed. I'm not alone anymore. That's what we should be talking about.
I want to see the real you.
All right, you just heard the trailer, and we just saw Joker, Folie, Deux.
Part deux.
I'll start us off. Huh? How about that? So, as I kind of predicted going in, I definitely understand why people would not like this movie.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I didn't like it. I liked parts of it.
100%.
Like-
Definitely.
It felt like it was trying to do a lot of different ideas.
Yeah.
Like, it was trying to be a courtroom drama and a musical, but it never fully committed to either of them, which
Yes.
was my biggest problem. Like, because if it's gonna be satire, then it needs
Yeah.
to be done, like, handled with high maturity. Like, if it's going to be a courtroom drama, it needs to be a courtroom drama with, like, twists and turns and, like, objections and all that kind of stuff that makes a courtroom drama a courtroom drama. If it's going to be a deep dive into somebody's psychological state after a bunch of murders, then it should be that. If it's going to be a musical, they should maybe have pre-recorded musical segments in the
Yeah,
movie
I
instead
would-
of Les Miserables style.
I would definitely say they needed, or it would have been more enjoyable if they had more hard cuts between the musical section and the in-world sections, as you might want to call it, because I don't know, a little more entertaining. I feel like if every musical section was just like a full departure from reality, or like a small intro and then full departure, but
Yeah.
it's too much in the world where I was like, it's all getting muddied, which I guess is part of it, but at the same time, it would have been a little more entertaining if they just went more bombastic with the musical sections more often.
Yeah.
There was a couple good parts, especially.
The courtroom, I mean, the musical in the courtroom, I thought was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And then the one where they're dancing on top of Hotel Arkham, I thought was a really great scene.
Yeah.
But those are the only two times they actually went full bore on it being a musical.
Well, and there's like the Joker and Harley show.
Oh yeah, that part I did
Yeah,
like that one
yeah.
too. I like that
was,
one too.
That was really good.
And then when they were getting married, anytime they did, like you're right, anytime they
Yeah.
actually committed and were
Yeah.
like, "This is a musical," it was great because it was like, "That's a musical. That's a really good
And
musical."
it's clean cut, and you're like, this is what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it was a lot of just that, like, every time Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix, Joker, and Harley would sing to each other, it always sounded like they were going to start a better song.
Yes.
Like-
And like change wardrobe and lighting and
Yeah.
the whole thing, and then come back to reality.
Yeah.
They did that like twice out of like 20 times, I feel like.
yeah, it's odd to use because if we're talking about a musical, the framing device of people slowly talking the lyrics to each other
Yes.
is a setup for a bigger number in a
Yes.
normal musical. So, I mean, there's numerous times in the film where they're looking at each other and they start singing to each other like this.
Yes.
And they start to get higher, and it's like they're going to crescendo, and they don't, ever.
And then the singing doesn't improve.
Yeah,
for
and
the
it's
rest of the scene either.
So it's like a misdirect for us, because if I'm watching this with the mindset this is a musical, then you should treat me with respect as an audience member that I'm watching a musical, and don't misdirect me or
Yeah.
whatever.
Tease me with something that you're not going to give me.
Yeah, you put Lady
5 more
Gaga in a
times.
fucking movie and never actually had her sing well. Like that to me, that's
Yeah.
like a weird,
Tiny
weird-
little bits here and there.
Yeah, and then the times that she did, like when they're walking out of the courtroom, no spoilers yet, by the way.
Yeah.
Like when they're walking out of the courtroom in the one scene where they're singing out, walking out the door.
Yeah.
she's actually using pre-recorded like songs, and she sounds
Yeah.
amazing.
Yes.
And it's like they didn't do that for the rest of the film. Like it was just her on set getting the raw audio,
No.
which, like I mentioned before, they did in Les Miserables to varying levels of success in the film. Where you've got Anne Hathaway giving an Oscar-winning performance in when she's singing, the dream, and that song.
Yes.
But then you've got Russell Crowe in the same film, seeming like he's never had a singing lesson in his entire life. And I felt like that kind of was the juxtaposition for me as a music enjoyer. Joaquin Phoenix can't sing. Like,
I mean, better than me, but that's not saying much at all.
I mean, does he? Does he?
I don't know. I guess I could get paid a lot of money to find out.
And to me, it's like he didn't even seem like he took singing lessons, and maybe that's like the idea is they want to have it raw. Like,
Yeah.
these are insane asylum patients; they shouldn't be great.
And that
singers.
makes sense a lot for like the intros to songs, to keep it raw and then like make it more clean when you go to the full ideation of like the mental realm that they're actually in,
Yeah.
as opposed to what they physically are.
Right. Which is going to bring me into a lot of the problems that I did have with the film, which we're not going to be able to do without spoiling. Because,
Yeah,
of course,
spoilers.
this movie's got spoilers in it and stuff. But, I mean, 4.5 minutes of spoiler-free review. That's better than IGN does. So if you do want to go see this film, like I said, it just came out this weekend. You should probably go see it because I don't think it's making any money back that it
No.
used to make.
No.
If you want to go see it, go pause this, go watch the movie, come back, because the rest of this podcast is going to be spoiler-filled.
100%.
So you've been warned, and there's spoilers in this one, so this isn't like last week where we were like, don't see this movie, go see it, form your own opinion about it. I really think people should see it and form their own opinion about it.
Yeah.
Because in my opinion, spoiler alert, my opinion about this film is this was a movie that I watched. You know what I mean? Nothing amazing, nothing terrible, nothing offensive. Nothing like, well, except for one gratuitous sex scene, but like, nothing really.
At least
like,
it was short.
yeah, like it was
Very short.
Like,
10 strokes or less.
5 or less, I think. But yeah, it's just the faults I have with the film are the fact that it at times it feels like a Joker movie, and I'm like, if you're gonna name the movie Joker, it does have to like feel like a Joker movie. Like I'm all about like flipping things on their head and like Ryan Johnson style of filming where it's like, let's
well, they
fuck
kind
with
of
expectations.
did at the very end.
Right,
I don't want to go jump to that
Oh,
yet.
we'll save that. I know exactly what you're talking about. We'll save that.
But
I think we dawned on us at the exact same time when it was happening.
But like I enjoyed the fact that they picked up the story pretty much exactly where we left off.
2 years later.
Like 2 years later, he's still in prison. He looks even more emaciated than he did in the first movie, which I just watched this morning.
Can't be healthy for Joaquin Phoenix to be doing that.
The doctor that told Christian Bale to stop doing it is probably at this guy's door now. I'd be like, dude, this is
like he
you're
really
gonna
should
kill
stop
yourself.
because he's looking.
Your liver is gonna explode or something.
He looks like a lizard. That's how skinny he is.
Yeah, it was kind of mind bending. Not as bad as The Machinist, but starting to get close. But yeah, it explored his character, explored his traumas, explored like a lot of the backstory that kind of covered a bit, and then the musical part gets introduced slowly into the part where you see...
very early. I mean, essentially the overture is the cold open. Where now we're getting inside baseball for anybody who doesn't know. An overture, technically, if you go to a play traditionally, an overture is the first musical note that cues you into the emotional angles the play is going to take. Yeah. So anytime a character comes on screen for the first time, a song will play, on stage for the first time, a song will play, and then okay, that's that character's song. Yeah. That's what I mean by the overture. So the overture of this film, which is the cold open, which is technically anything that happens before an opening credits of a movie or TV show is considered the cold open. You all just learned something. So the cold open of this film is a cartoon, which kind of recaps his mental struggle with his the Joker,
Dark
Arthur
side,
Fleck
shadow,
and it's very well done. And it definitely, if you pay attention, if you know anything about the film, it tells you this is going to be a musical. Yes, like right at the very beginning,
the struggles between the dark side and the actual person.
Yeah, so I enjoyed that, but I also feel like they didn't really address any of that in the film.
I mean, I guess you could say the Dark Shadow isn't actually who he is. It's Arthur. But Arthur is not the Joker.
Correct.
Sorry, spoilers. Wait, we're already there.
We're way past that. We're way past that.
I'm joking. But yeah, that was a really interesting opening. I enjoyed the color schemes they would bring out occasionally. Whenever he's starting to go to his place as the Joker, you see a lot more color on the screen, like the umbrellas that change colors. That was early. I was like, oh, why do the guards have orange, red, yellow, and white, or whatever it was? And then immediately we cut, and then they're black.
Black umbrellas, yeah. So when they're leading Arthur to go to his first, he's going to meet his lawyer. Yes. And as they walk through the rain, he leaves the cell, leaves the inside of the asylum, and as they're walking through the rain, all 4 of the guards around him have black umbrellas. Arthur has no umbrella. And as the rain hits Arthur's face, he takes a puff of a cigarette. And then this is a theme throughout the film, that whenever he takes a deep inhale of a cigarette backward, he's becoming Joker. Yes. So as he does this the first time in the movie, the black umbrellas turn to all of Joker's suit primary colors. And then as he has to go back inside the asylum, they turn back to black. So it's very great cinematography, which stops the second that movie goes to trial.
Yeah.
Like, did you notice how so the movie is essentially 2 acts. Like, this is not a 3-act film. It's 2 acts, in my opinion. I mean, unless you count the last 5 minutes as the third act.
I think I would count the last 30 to 60 seconds as the third act.
I'd agree with that. I definitely agree with that. And we'll get to that.
We'll get there.
This is how you keep people hooked. It's a new technique that Mr. Beast created. We'll look it up. I'm not
abusing people?
No, Sorry,
where are we going on this one?
I don't care. We go after Mr. Beast. I'm a grown man. But to me, it's the first act is the Arkham Asylum act. We'll call it that, and that's where you see his life inside the asylum. He first meets Harley. You learn his relationship with the guards there. You learn about his celebrity status. Give me 2.5 hours of that movie.
That was almost, I would say, Shawshank.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that whole vibe.
Very good vibe.
I really enjoyed that part of the movie, and it seemed to be the part of the film where Todd Phillips, whoever the cinematographer is for this film, which I'll look it up as I'm rambling, he really took a lot of great chances with some shots. Some of those shots were absolutely
the
beautiful.
overhead umbrella one we were talking about. A lot of his And there's a certain person in the background you keep seeing that doesn't become important until very late in the movie. That guy shows up a lot in the background scenes with the TV.
Yeah, and there's like a lot
Every
of
time.
really good foreshadowing. Let's see who the cinematographer is on this film. We've got Lawrence Sher, the cinematographer for this film. He is known for a bunch of other Todd Phillips movies. He has been nominated for an Academy Award and a BAFTA for Joker. All right.
I mean, he kind of deserves
Yeah,
it.
definitely, most
It's
definitely.
a great part of the movie.
But yeah, I will say to me, the worst part of the movie is the second half, like in my opinion, because the courtroom drama itself, like I said, I enjoy a good courtroom drama, but it just wasn't dramatic enough for me because at the end of the day, there were no stakes for me in that drama. We
And there
knew
weren't
he was going to be found guilty.
good revelations.
No,
A good courtroom drama has to have a breakdown of an argument or a revelation or something really actually turned on its head.
I thought it was
And-
going to be that when they find out that Harley is. Again, we've already said spoiler
Yeah.
alert, but when you find out that Harley is not who she says she is,
Yes.
you find out that she introduced herself as a woman who burnt her apartment down to the ground,
Parents'
parents' apartment building,
Yeah.
killed her dad. Her dad was a deadbeat who left.
Yeah, he died in a car crash or
And then
something.
her mom was like, but that was totally not true. She's actually a wealthy girl who's just
Dad's a
psychotically messed
doctor
up.
and still alive.
Yeah, so that to me, I thought that was going to be the big twist in the court story. And then
Yeah.
he fires his attorney, and I'm like, this is good. This is good stuff.
A lot
And
of
then-
non-consensual kissing, just like in the first movie.
yeah, and everyone just lets it go. Like
Yeah,
nobody.
yeah.
Like,
I just watched the first movie, and he kisses the Dr. Sally lady who's like 80 years old when he comes on the set, and everyone just like laughs it off, and she sits down and looks traumatized the rest of the night before bang. And I was like, oh, where's the walk this up? And then same thing happens in the courtroom. Like, okay, so I guess this is the 80s. You just laugh that off and just let it happen.
slap butt, smoke cigarettes indoors, and kiss ladies when you want to. That's the
Yeah,
80s, baby.
yeah, walk away unscathed.
But yeah, to me, that's where the movie, for me, held itself back. Until, in my opinion, the most interesting thing in the whole film happened.
Oh,
Which to me, and this is like I said, we're hardcore to spoiler territory at this
Yeah.
point. This is the last scene of the film. Long story short, Arthur Fleck dies at the end of this film.
Yes.
And he gets killed by a character who's in the background of almost every scene that Arthur Fleck is in the main area with all the other patients.
who never talks.
He never talks, but you definitely know he's up to something the whole time.
Yeah, they did great with the cinematography on this too, because my eye was always drawn to him in a way, but like he was never the focus of a shot really.
Yep.
But I always noticed him.
Yeah.
He
And
stood out.
He did a lot of, so this may be me stretching. I'm not this deep into cinematography, but I did definitely notice that they were using lenses purposefully when multiple people were in scenes.
Yeah.
So anytime they needed to focus on something, first of all, the rack focusing on this movie, which is, we're getting like to nerd territory.
Yeah.
But there's so many scenes where, like, specifically the scene where they're Harley and Joker are having a conversation through one of those prison glass things.
You got 5 minutes.
And the little 5 minute, no touching kind of deal. But then you get this beautiful scene where, Harley takes her lipstick out and draws a Joker smile on the glass, and it's focused on the Joker smile, and then it rack focuses back on Joaquin, who then leans perfectly into frame, and it lines up with his
And they
mouth.
use that in the trailer.
Oh
which
my
is
god! And it's
smart.
it's also a beautiful nod to the marketing campaign "Why So Serious" from
Yeah.
the Dark Knight series,
Yep.
which I feel like there was also another nod to the Dark Knight in this movie. We're getting way off topic, but there's another
Waiting for
nod
it.
toward the end of the film where Arthur's in the back of a police vehicle and it looks a whole hell of a lot like the Dark Knight when Heath Ledger's got his head out the
Yeah.
window and stuff. But like I said, Arthur gets murdered by another asylum inmate, and then as the film ends on Arthur's body dying on the floor, the inmate starts laughing, quite much like the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I'm like, oh, so Todd Phillips either had a plan for a third movie, or
is
this
just letting
whole
it go
film is
straight.
kind of a fuck you.
Well, I'm okay. So I got a
You
different
have
opinion
the
on that.
Joker's origin story happening in the background of this
Do you-
Joker
do you-
movie.
Did you hear the other noise besides the laughing?
No. What kind of? What was it?
He was slicing his mouth open
Oh, is that what he was doing? Oh,
with
okay.
the knife that he shanked him with.
I looked down when he like
I wanted
reached
to
up
lean
his
over and
face.
be like, "Do you want to know how I got these scars?"
See
And
it. It's
you don't
str-
see it, but it's there, and that's the moment. And I feel like this is the origin story for the DC Joker that they use later in
But
the regular Batman movies with Pattinson.
See, I don't think that that's the case, only because Todd Phillips was insistent on having no interaction with James Gunn. So because James Gunn didn't know what this movie was until
Yeah.
it came out. Because of that, he could not have planned.
I mean, I would say even though he did that, it was still less of a fuck you to your continuing storyline than The Last Jedi did with Snoke.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
but like in this one, they
that's
gave you.
That's like saying it's better than Gremlins.
You're not
2.
gonna be able to. You're not gonna be able to cast Joaquin Phoenix for Batman movies, but you will have a Joker. You will have a Harley. You will have an origin story, and you can use it as a studio, and you don't have to worry about any of these stars from before because you can just maybe replace Lady Gaga or keep her, but you have a Harley Quinn, and you have a new Joker, and you have his origin, and you don't know his real background.
Do you know why else?
You
know why else I think the movie's kind of a fuck you?
Right.
Did you notice a DC logo ever?
No.
How many?
I did notice the
production
ancient
companies?
Warner Bros. Entry logo,
There were
which
4
tied
production
perfectly into the
companies.
cartoon.
There were 4 production companies at the beginning of that film, and none of them were DC studios. If that isn't a cue, like, I don't know what is. Because I mean, like, that's biting the hand that feeds.
Yeah.
And if it's for artistic choices, he had 4 other studios that he posted in the opening credits.
I mean, I guess the only thing that he did do to harm them for using the character, though, in their desired Dark Batman series they might probably be starting, is the fact you can't use Joaquin Phoenix, who's a great actor.
Right.
But you have full artistic license to use effectively this origin story and world for how your Joker goes in whatever DC universe you want to play in.
Yeah.
But he's still got to have his artistic fun. So it's kind of like a balance. It is like a middle finger, but also like, here you go. Here's your Joker. Here's your origin.
To me, and then also, this brings me back to another big problem I had with, I felt like there wasn't enough of, okay, you guys don't see this right now, but first of all, my friend Bobby's listening right now. Bobby, you know who you are. Bobby used to work for Jaguar Land Rover, and Bobby's a big Dallas Cowboys fan. I was actually going to fly down to Dallas to watch the game today, but didn't because he wasn't able to. But holy, are the Lions beating the crap out of the Cowboys right
Don't jinx it. It's only the
Jinx
second.
it. We're not that kind of
It's
Lions
only the second.
anymore. We're not those kinds of Lions anymore.
It's only the second.
Anyway, so there were, to me, the first movie had so many stakes because you established at the beginning of the film that Arthur could kill anybody.
Yeah.
Like, he literally kills, 3 random people at the beginning, and then the rest of the movie, he ends up killing more people. He kills his coworker. He kills, obviously, very famously, Marie.
Doesn't kill Mr. Puddles, though.
Does not kill Mr. Puddles, who will come back to that scene, too.
Oh.
But, to me, remember when they're like, we're going to give the people what they want in the movie? Which, by the way, is another view, because they didn't. But, all of the violence that happens in the film, which I'm not here to advocate violence, but if you want me to feel impact with the violence that's happening in the movie, and I know that it's happening in Arthur's fantasy land as opposed to the real world, there is no impact to it. So, like, him fantasizing about killing the judge, which is a great scene, and fantasizing about killing Harvey Dent, great scene, but there's no stakes because we all know it's just a fantasy, and we're going to slip back to him actually being in the courtroom and not following through.
We were heavily foreshadowed in there where Harley shoots him in the dream sequence, sing and dance routine, and the Joker and Harley Quinn show thing, and then he's been shot like an hour into the movie, and then he definitely gets killed because of her manipulations and everything else that happens. No one ever explains if, like, she set the bomb or someone else set the bomb or what was going on there.
My whole thought process was if because the car bomb goes off during the trial to blow up the side of the wall, and Arthur runs out just to run back to his old apartment just to get caught. My mind is like, if somebody's doing that to free him, that's stupid plan, because he definitely almost died. Like, if he was standing 5 feet to the right, he would have been killed in the blast.
I mean, maybe they just wanted to cite violence.
That, to me, is more logical. But then, who is it? Who did this? Because then they're just killing a bunch of innocent people. Because they're not even mentioning the collateral damage of the thousands of people who were outside the courtroom when the bomb went off. Like, that's just like...
Well, at least it was the side of the building, not the front.
Well, see, this is the Zack Snyder problem. When you've got Superman flying through office buildings in the middle of the day and not even caring about the thousands of people he's killing.
Maybe it was Sunday. Did you ask me it was Sunday? Maybe they were all at home.
It was not Sunday.
They were at church, Mike.
You saw the footage of Bruce Wayne.
No one got hurt. They were all at church.
Like, Ben Affleck was so correct to be mad. He's like, it's a workday, Superman. But I mean, like, it just, to me as a viewer, I'm watching it and I'm like, I'm thinking Harley did this, and then I'm like, well, why would Harley do this? Because then
she doesn't want him anymore.
Yeah, she doesn't want him anymore, and
he gave up on being Joker in the very last scene for his defense arguments before they announced the verdict.
I feel like you just write.
And then he's given up, and she's moved on. She's a massive manipulator. She has a psychology degree, and she's been playing people a lot.
She is the villain in this movie.
Yeah, very much, honestly.
Yeah, she's the villain.
More so than Arthur, because
It's her.
Arthur doesn't actually kill anyone in this
He
movie.
doesn't commit any crimes in this movie.
Only in his head.
He does
He
a lot
wants
in his
to.
head, but everybody does.
He wants to use that oversized gavel and
Hey, look at that, another
brain
score.
in that guy.
What you were saying about me jinxing this? Ain't gonna
not
happen.
the third
this,
yet.
This ain't those Lions, baby.
Anyways,
This is 38 years of watching. I don't care. Like, I'm used to it, them losing.
so
All right.
it is 5:46 on October 13th. If anyone wants to rewind to what we're watching in the Lions game.
All right. Leave it in the comment section if the Lions end up losing. You can call me whatever the hell you want, but they're not going to. But, so, Tarq, it comes down now to the most important part of the whole show.
Yes.
What a lot of people want to know is, what do we score this? And you know the rating scale. It's sliding based on whatever you're feeling in the moment. I'll go first. Let's just set the bar for you. Did I enjoy this film? It was fine. I liked a lot of parts of it. Like I said, the first hour and 15, beautiful, beautiful stuff. And it gets a special shout out just for the courtroom scene that is Arthur versus Puddles. When Arthur's representing himself after he's already fired his attorney, and he now, I don't want to spoil it for anybody. People are walking by. That looks like a party celebration. Happy celebration, whatever the celebrating is going on. All right.
Happy
Yeah,
Joker's
birthday,
death
perhaps. Oh,
Joker's death day.
Talking like an NPR. No, there's a scene between where Arthur is representing himself and has to essentially cross-examine the gentleman from the first movie, who's his coworker who watched him murder his other coworker. So if you've seen the first Joker, you know who I'm talking about. Gregory Puddles. Greg, I think is.
Well, it's Puddles. Mr.
Something
Puddles.
Puddles, last name
Mr. Puddles.
Mr. Puddles is your last name.
Is that your Christian given name?
Oh man, great scene. Special shout out to that scene alone. It was fantastic. Well acted by both those actors.
Yeah, Mr. Puddles, shout out.
he
Great
was
actor.
So good.
He was good in the first one too.
He was.
He was genuinely terrified in the first movie, the apartment scene.
That scene is so good. So do I think the first Joker is better than this? Yes, I do. I think it's better than this. Do I think this is a bad movie? No. Do I understand why people hate it? Sure. Do I think it should have gotten as much hate as it did? No. Having said all of that, this may be one of the only times I've ever come this far down the middle in a film. But I will. Oh, it's out of 5. That's right. It prevents the middle of the rating.
You can't give portions of a...
You can, but it's kind of cheating. I think I might have to give this one 2.5 puddles out of 5.
Yeah.
2.5, because it's right down the middle for me. I think 3 for me means it's above average, and I don't think it's an above average film. I think it has above average moments, and I think they're too far in between for me to give it just a 3 out of 5. So 2.5 puddles out of 5.
Okay. So for my opinion, like I said, the gritty prison stuff was great. The explorations, I mean, they went into, trigger warning, I guess, a lot of SA situations that happened to this poor guy as a child.
Wait, time out.
Sexual assault.
Oh, SA. I thought you meant
No,
I thought you meant like
it
essay.
wasn't gonna, no, not my essay or writing an essay. I was
like,
talking
wait, what
about
is an SA situation?
sexual violence against this poor unfortunate individual as a character.
It's definitely alluded to the fact that he definitely gets sodomized in that.
in the shower scene. That was dark. And then that's what broke him as a person and made him stop being the Joker in that glass car scene.
That'll do it.
So it's certainly no Shawshank Redemption, but I don't know. They took a lot of interesting choices. They really didn't mess up the character or the person who was Arthur Dent from the first movie.
Harvey Dent or Arthur Fleck?
Or Arthur Fleck. Arthur Fleck.
I think personally, when Joaquin Phoenix is playing Joker in this movie, which you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about. I think it's a better Joker than he was in the first movie. I thought it was a very entertaining
he's
Joker.
More practice, more, and I feel like as Joker, he's become more confident in the moments he is Joker.
Yeah,
and like the musical numbers, they were very interesting. Like the cartoon opener was the whole like foreshadowing almost to like the struggles of the character, and it was shot really well. It was acted really well. I love the prison guards dynamic. Like they
just
did
shout out
that
to Brandon
really...
Gleeson too.
Oh
who's
my God, he was great.
Menacing while also being warm,
like chummy,
like
and warm, until like there's one point where Arthur pats him on the back, thanking him, and then immediately Gleeson just turns around and smacks him hard in the back of the head, setting up the dynamic. Like, yes, I'm being nice to you, I'm giving you a cigarette, but at the same time, no touch.
And for anyone who doesn't know, this is
control.
after about like 20 minutes of them bonding through like a bunch of
And
scenes and stuff.
honestly, I don't think the prison guard was malicious. He just,
Except for when he saw
well, I mean, that was later when they insulted him on national TV and maybe lost a little control, but we don't know if
Definitely
that
not
happened
justified.
before. We don't know if that had happened before either, like in prison.
That is
situations.
true. That is
They
true.
never allude to it, but it's an unwritten, maybe this has happened before, because they seemed very proficient at what they were doing.
Yeah.
Anyways, given the risks and just like willingness to explore the character and then honestly not just throw the whole thing away in terms of, hey, if you want to do a DC movie, we still had fun with an artistic movie, but left you the out with your new Joker who came from the same source, and like the idea that Joker can come from anyone in this repressed society. I honestly say like 3.5.
It's a good perspective. I like that.
Yeah, I feel like they really treaded the line between artistic license and staying true to the kind of character. I don't know if it's definitely not true to like comic book character or any other source character, but this guy, Arthur Fleck, this character of Joker, it makes a lot of sense.
3.5 what?
3.5 fractured souls out of 5.
Fractured souls. All right, going deep on the kiddos with this one. Good Lord. All right, well, that was it. That was our opinion. The only reason I suggested we see this one, like I said before, I know this used to be a weekly show. Sorry to the people who actually do listen consistently, which is a decent amount of you. Sorry.
Oops. Not
you
my
know,
fault.
it's not. Well, no, it's definitely my fault. But no, just everybody's public opinion about this was so twisted in one direction.
Yeah.
And I was just like, there's no way this movie can be as bad as people are wanting it to be.
It's just people wanted a DC movie, and they didn't get a DC movie.
They did not get a DC movie,
But they
did
still
get a
got
good
an
movie.
Arthur Fleck Joker movie.
Yeah,
But
just-
if you watch the first one, it's like literally just lined straight up to this pretty much.
Well, except for the fact that he did everything for real in the first one. Like he actually committed all of the crimes and stuff. In the second
Well,
one,
he had an imaginary relationship and had all sorts of imaginary interactions with people that did never happen, and
he only really had the one imaginary reaction, that was with the neighbor, and it
but
wasn't
that
even,
was repeated.
But it was never an action. But you don't realize it till the end of the movie that it's
Yeah.
imaginary. So
But
it's one of those things where like
he's also slowly coming off his meds in that movie, and now he's like,
I stopped taking.
I stopped taking it. I think he threw him away in his, I guess, what do you chamber pot, whatever they
See,
did.
they never actually address how he stopped
I think
taking
he
the
stuck him
meds.
here and he put him in his chamber pot. Because there's one scene where they did the tongue check and they immediately cut to him walking out with his chamber pot from the morning scene.
Yeah,
That's my.
I guess, but you got to
They
show us
don't
something.
spell stuff out for you.
You got to show us something. Like,
Yeah.
You can't just leave it all to our imagination.
Or you just threw up.
All right, don't know what the next episode will be. I think something coming out controversial will get my attention.
Yeah.
But it'll be soon. I'll make sure to do it. Like
It won't be Wild Robot because everyone's probably gonna love that.
I'll go see Wild Robot. It doesn't have to be a controversial movie. It's just a
I know,
movie.
but I'm saying.
I don't know. Let me know in the fucking whatever the comments or some shit. Tell us. I don't really care. Tell us. Tell me what you think.
Please at me.
What do you think? Don't at me. Don't ever at me. I swear to God. This is the word. I will not respond. You'll get blocked so quick. But do go to This Better Be Good on Facebook and make sure you keep up to date with the podcast. I share all the information on there. You'll definitely know what the next episode we're going to do is. If you listen to an Apple Podcast or Spotify, like us, review us. If you hate Tarq, tell him to his face next time you see him.
That's fine. I'm used
I don't
to
know how
it.
they're going to find you. But like,
God.
anyway, yeah, that was it. That was the movie. Like I said, Tarq, do you have anything you want to have the listeners? Tarq is an IT guy at a hospital for his day job at a place.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
There
a
was
lot of
no
hospitals.
computers harmed in the filming of this movie.
A lot of hospitals, and nobody knows what city I'm located in. Kidding. They can easily find it out. But anything you want people to know about you?
Me? No,
Tarq, you're
I'm
the
good.
second episode in a row, man. You might
I don't want anything crazy involved with this. I just want to say words and stuff.
Okay, don't creep him out. All right, having said all that, I guess it's time to wrap the show up. I'm Mike Logan,
I'm Tarq.
and that was
Was
good.